sent me an audio file that shattered everything I thought I understood about family. The message came with a smirk disguised as text. Guess who has a surprise for you? 4 minutes and 23 seconds. That's all it took to erase 33 years of believing I was loved. In that recording, my parents laughed about me. She actually thinks we love her. What we love is her money. My father called me naive. My sister wondered how much longer I'd keep paying. For 8 years, I sent my family $516,650. I believed I was being a good daughter. Turns out, I was an ATM with emotions. Before I tell you what happened before, please take a second. I read every single one, and it truly means more to me than you know. Now let me take you back to where this story began. Tuesday night, 9:47 p.m. I was still at my desk inside a glass tower in Midtown Houston, reviewing quarterly projections for Stonebridge Equity Group. The skyline shimmered outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, but after 6 years, the view felt like wallpaper. My phone lit up. Sophia, but before I explain that message, you need context. On paper, my life looked impressive. Senior financial strategist, $142,000 a year. Corner desk with the best natural light. Every month, though, a large portion of that salary disappeared into my parents' accounts in Katy, Texas. It started 8 years ago, 3 weeks after I landed my first real job. Mom called in tears. An emergency. They needed $500 for a car repair. I wired it within the hour. I felt proud. Finally, useful. That $500 turned into $2,450 a month for their mortgage. Then came Sophia's college tuition at the University of Houston, nearly $98,000 when you include housing and expenses. Then monthly support because my father's work injury forced him into early retirement. Then temporary emergencies that somehow never ended. I never questioned it. Good daughters help their families. That's what I told myself every time I checked my bank app. Every time I calculated whether I could afford dinner out, usually no. Every time I renewed the lease on my tiny midtown apartment because saving for a down payment felt impossible. $516,650. I know the number because I calculated it the night I sat in the dark listening to my parents laugh about how easy I was to manipulate. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That Tuesday, I was still the version of Valeria who believed she was loved. The one who saw Sophia's name pop up and smiled, assuming my little sister just wanted to talk. I was wrong. Sophia is 27. She graduated 3 years ago with a marketing degree I paid for. Since then, she's been finding herself. That's my mother's phrase. Apparently, self-discovery requires living rent-free in our parents' house, posting brunch photos from places I've never had time to visit, and cycling through entry-level jobs every 8 months because she gets bored. I used to defend her. She's young. She'll figure it out. Some people just need more time. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that while I was working 60-hour weeks and heating up microwave dinners alone, Sophia had been shopping at Nordstrom with a credit card tied to my account. My mother had added her as an authorized user 6 months earlier, without telling me. I only discovered that later, when I checked my statements after noticing the audio file's timestamp. But on that Tuesday night, I still believed my sacrifices meant something. I still thought when my mother called me the responsible one and Sophia the free spirit, it was affection, not code for who pays and who plays. The family group chat that week had been ordinary, Sophia complaining about being broke while wearing a $400 jacket in her selfie. Mom reminding everyone about the 35th anniversary party on Sunday. Dad replying with a thumbs-up emoji. Nothing more. And then, at 9:47 p.m., Sophia sent me a private message. One line, guess who has a surprise for you? Below it, an audio file. 4 minutes, 23 seconds. File name, family_talk.m4a. I should have waited. I should have gone home, poured a glass of wine, prepared myself. Instead, I pressed play. You need to understand what was supposed to happen that Sunday. My mother had spent 6 months planning her 35th wedding anniversary celebration. The venue? The Houstonian Hotel Ballroom, the kind of place where membership fees cost more than my annual rent. 85 guests were invited: aunts, uncles, church friends, my father's old co-workers, my mother's book club, everyone who mattered in their social circle. They were all coming to celebrate Maribel and Luis Vega, 35 years of marriage. And I was supposed to stand up in front of all of them and give a speech about family. The anniversary party was set for Sunday at 6. White tablecloths, crystal chandeliers, a gold banner stretched across the ballroom reading, 35 Years of Love. My mother had curated every detail: the menu, the floral arrangements, the seating chart that quietly ranked every guest by importance. She had chosen her navy dress 3 months earlier. Pearls, matching heels, flawless. And she had chosen the highlight of the evening: me. Her eldest daughter would give a heartfelt speech, then present the surprise anniversary gift. Here's what no one knew: I didn't plan that gift. 2 weeks before I received the recording, I noticed a charge on my Bank of America Visa ending in 4721. Expedia Group, $31,850. A 3-week Mediterranean cruise. October departure. When I called my mother, she laughed like it was the sweetest joke in the world. Surprise! You're giving us the trip of a lifetime for our anniversary. Isn't that amazing? We already told everyone. I remember sitting there, stunned. And I did what I always did. I didn't argue. Classic Valeria. Don't make waves. Don't embarrass anyone. Just absorb the cost and smile. The plan was simple. Show up Sunday, deliver the speech she drafted, present the cruise details, watch my parents glow while 85 guests applauded my generosity. That was the script. Then Sophia sent the file. And everything I thought I understood about being a good daughter burned to the ground in 4 minutes and 23 seconds. I pressed play. The audio was faint, slightly distorted, recorded on a phone hidden somewhere in my parents' kitchen in Katy. I recognized the space immediately: the hollow echo of tile, the low hum of the refrigerator my father always said he'd replace. My mother spoke first. She really thinks we love her. A soft laugh. Casual, almost amused. What we love is her money. My chest tightened so hard I forgot to breathe. Then my father's voice. The same chuckle I'd grown up hearing, now twisted. She's always been the naive one. And then Sophia, my baby sister, the girl I carried on my shoulders at the county fair, the one I defended when kids were cruel. How long do you think she'll keep paying? My mother didn't hesitate. As long as she believes we need her, that's her weakness. She needs to feel needed. More laughter. A cabinet door opening, plates shifting, life continuing normally while mine unraveled. I stopped the recording at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. I couldn't bring myself to hear the last 11. My midtown apartment was dark. The Houston skyline shimmered through my single window, indifferent to what had just happened. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in my hand, screen black. 10 minutes passed. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Just silence. And the slow, brutal arithmetic of realizing that $516,650 hadn't bought love. It had bought contempt. My phone buzzed. Sophia, did you listen? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed 4 words. So did I. I hit send. And something inside me shifted. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I replayed the recording 3 more times, taking notes on my laptop like I was auditing a hostile acquisition, which, in a way, I was. Every word, every laugh, every casual cruelty. Documented. At 1 a.m., I opened my banking app. 8 years of transactions. Thousands of line items. I created a spreadsheet and categorized every transfer I'd ever made to someone with my last name. Mortgage support, $235,200. Sophia's education, $98,000. Monthly living expenses, $115,200. Emergency loans never repaid, $36,400. The total glowed on my screen. $516,650. I thought about what that money could have been. A down payment on a home, a retirement account, travel, even one vacation that belonged to me. Instead, I had a small apartment and parents who called me naive when I wasn't in the room. At 3 a.m., I emailed Camila Ortiz. We'd been roommates at UT Austin years ago, back when I believed family was sacred and the world made sense. Now she was a financial litigation attorney. I need to talk. It's about my family and $500,000. Her reply came 12 minutes later. Blacksmith Coffee, 8 a.m. I'm clearing my calendar. At 3:47 a.m., Sophia responded to my message. What's that supposed to mean? Followed by laughing emojis. I stared at them. She hadn't sent that recording as a warning or an apology. She sent it for entertainment, to see how I'd react, to watch me break. I turned off my phone. For the first time in 8 years, I chose silence over appeasement. Wednesday, 8 a.m. Blacksmith Coffee, Montrose. Camila Ortiz was already there when I walked in. 2 oat milk lattes waiting, legal pad open, pen uncapped. That was Camila, prepared for battle before she even knew the battlefield. We'd shared a cramped apartment near campus years ago, living on ramen and ambition. She went to law school. I went into finance. In all those years, she never once asked me for money. Play it, she said before I even sat down. I did. Camila listened without reacting. Lawyer face on, completely unreadable. When the recording ended, she leaned back slowly and exhaled. Financial exploitation within a family structure, she said. It's more common than people think. That doesn't make it less devastating. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm so sorry, Valeria. I swallowed. Is it legal? Sophia recorded it in their house, I continued. Does that matter? Texas is a one-party consent state, Camila said calmly. Sophia was present, so legally she consented. If you ever needed to use this, it's admissible. She pulled out her phone. Send me the file. I want to check the metadata. I airdropped it. She opened an app I didn't recognize and scrolled through lines of data. Timestamp, last Sunday, 2:34 p.m. No signs of editing. No splicing. She looked up at me. It's authentic. The word landed like a punch. Authentic. Their contempt, verified by metadata. What do I do? I asked. Camilla's gaze sharpened, the same look she probably used in court. First, freeze the credit card, today. Second, cancel that cruise, she paused. And then you decide what you want to happen next. Thursday, 8 a.m. From my desk at Stonebridge, I called Bank of America. My voice was steady, professional. My heart was not. I need to freeze the visa ending in 4721 immediately. Security questions followed. Mother's maiden name. Street I grew up on. Funny how family details become passwords. Small keys to doors they would no longer have access to. Your card has been frozen, Ms. Vega. Anything else? Yes, I said quietly. That's all. 8:15 a.m. Expedia Group. I need to cancel reservation number EX-784921, I said. Mediterranean cruise booked under Maribel Vega. Are you the cardholder, ma'am? Yes, the charge was unauthorized. Keyboard clicks. You are still within the adjustment period. The full refund of $31,850 will be processed within 5 to 7 business days. Done. 8:32 a.m. Payroll email. Please cancel the recurring monthly transfer of $2,450 to account ending in 6672 effective immediately. 3 calls, 2 emails, 45 minutes. That's all it took to dismantle 8 years of financial dependence. 8:47 a.m. My phone buzzed. Declined transaction. Nordstrom. $892. Card ending 4721. Sophia, trying to use my card. The timing was almost poetic. I waited for guilt to arrive, for the familiar whisper. But they're your family. You're overreacting. What will people think? Nothing came, just a strange, hollow clarity. For the first time in 8 years, I didn't ask, "What will Mom think?" I asked, "What do I need to survive this?" The answer was already in motion. Thursday, 2 p.m. My phone lit up. Maribel. I let it ring twice before answering. The first time in my life I had ever hesitated. "Valeria, honey," she began, sweetness coating every syllable. "Is something wrong with your credit card? Sophia said it was declined." I froze it. Silence. 3 full seconds. "You froze it?" A nervous laugh. "Right before our anniversary? Is everything okay, sweetheart?" "I'm reviewing my finances," I said evenly. "There are some charges I need clarity on." "What charges?" Her tone tightened instantly. "The trip? That's your gift to us. We already told everyone. Teresa, the Hendersons, my entire book club. They're so impressed with your generosity." There it was. Not concern for me. Concern for appearances. "The $31,850 cruise you charged to my card without asking?" I said calmly. "We were going to tell you. It was supposed to be a surprise for you to give us." Her voice sharpened. "You always want to do nice things. We were helping you." "By spending my money without permission?" "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's family. What's yours is mine." I didn't raise my voice. "What's mine," I said slowly, "is mine." The silence that followed felt endless. "I don't know what's gotten into you." My mother's voice turned cold. Not loud, not hysterical, just cold. "I hope you work through whatever this is before Sunday," she continued. "The whole family will be there. Don't embarrass us." She hung up before I could respond. I sat at my desk, phone still in my hand, and realized something I had never considered before. I had never heard my mother truly angry at me. Because until now, I had never given her a reason. Thursday, 7 p.m. Sophia FaceTimed me from what used to be my childhood bedroom in Katy. The faded lavender walls were still there, the window overlooking the backyard where I used to do homework on summer evenings. Mom had turned it into a guest room years ago. Sophia had reclaimed it after graduation, temporarily, of course, 3 years ago. "Valeria," she drawled, using the French she picked up during a 2-week trip to Montreal. "You've caused quite the stir." She leaned back against my old pillows, smirking. "Mom's been stress cleaning for hours. Dad locked himself in the garage." She laughed. "I have to admit, I didn't expect this. You're usually so accommodating." I kept my voice steady. "Why did you send me that recording, Sophia?" She tilted her head. "Honestly, I wanted to see what you'd do. You're always so perfect, so responsible. The good daughter. I was curious when you'd finally snap." "So this was entertainment?" "Oh, don't be dramatic." The same phrase my mother used, same dismissive tone. "I figured you'd cry, call Mom, and everything would smooth over before Sunday. I didn't think you'd actually do anything." "What did they tell the family about the money I send?" She shrugged, inspecting her manicure. "That you volunteer it, that you feel guilty for being more successful, that you insist on helping. The whole family thinks you're desperate for approval, like you're buying love." My chest tightened, but I didn't let it show. "Are you coming Sunday?" she asked. "Mom's worried," she added air quotes around the word. "And if you don't show up and act normal, she said she'll call Andrew Collins. Tell him you're having some kind of breakdown, that the family's concerned about your stability at work." I ended the call without saying goodbye, but not before I discreetly tapped the voice memo app. Recording length, 3 minutes, 41 seconds. Friday, I went to work like nothing had happened. 8 years of bank statements, condensed into a 12-page summary. Confirmation from Expedia showing the cruise cancellation and pending refund. Screenshots of Sophia's guess, who has a surprise for you message. A full transcript of the recording, every line timestamped. Camilla had verified the documentation. I pulled a red folder from the supply closet and slid everything inside. Red felt appropriate. That evening, I knocked on Ethan Caldwell's door downstairs. He's a freelance photographer. The kind of person who remembers your birthday without social media reminders. We'd bonded over shared laundry room frustrations and the occasional Thai takeout. "Can I ask you a favor?" I said. He stepped aside immediately. "Anything. I need someone to come with me to a family event Sunday. I'll explain on the drive. I just need a witness. Someone who isn't them." He studied my face carefully. "This is serious. The most serious thing I've ever done." He nodded once. "I'm in. What time?" 5. As I turned to leave, he handed me a business card. "My therapist, Dr. Naomi Bennett. Whatever happens Sunday, you should talk to someone. Not because you're broken, because this kind of thing leaves marks." I looked at the card. "Thank you for not telling me to forgive and forget." He gave me a small, knowing smile. "Some things," he said quietly, "shouldn't be forgotten." Saturday. My phone became a battlefield. 9 a.m. Aunt Teresa. "Valeria, sweetheart, your mother is devastated. I'm sure this is a misunderstanding. Family forgives. That's what we do." 11:30 a.m. Uncle Javier. "Your dad says you're having financial trouble. Need a loan? I can wire you a few hundred." Financial trouble. That's how they framed it. 2 p.m. Cousin Elena. "Is it true you're not coming to the anniversary? Everyone's talking. Your mom's been crying all day." 4:30 p.m. My grandmother. "Valeria, I don't understand what's happening, but your mother is very upset. Please don't make a scene tomorrow. The family's reputation." I listened to every message. I didn't respond to any of them. The narrative was already in motion. Valeria was unstable. Valeria was selfish. Valeria was jeopardizing a beautiful celebration because she couldn't control her emotions. My mother moved fast. Within 36 hours, she had called nearly every relative we had. She seeded a story carefully, one where she was the wounded mother, and I was the unstable daughter spiraling out of control. By Saturday evening, the narrative was set. I was overwhelmed. I needed managing. But at 6:47 p.m., another voicemail came through. My grandmother. Not the formal public call from earlier. A private one. "Valeria," she said quietly. Her voice sounded older than it ever had. "It's just me this time. I don't know the whole story. And your mother has always had her ways. Whatever you're planning, be careful, and know that I've seen more than I've said." I saved that message. The acknowledgement, subtle, restrained, cracked something open inside me. Not doubt, relief. At least one person in that family saw the truth. Now I just had to make sure the others did too. Sunday, 10 a.m., 8 hours before the party. My phone rang. Maribel. I answered immediately. No sweetness this time. No mija. No honey. Just steel, wrapped in velvet. "I'm giving you one last chance," she said. "I'm listening. You will come tonight. You will give the speech I wrote. I'm emailing it shortly. You will smile, present the cruise, and act like the grateful daughter everyone knows you are." She paused. "And you will never mention that card situation again." "Or?" I asked. "Or I call Andrew Collins. I found his number on LinkedIn." Her voice sharpened with satisfaction. "I'll tell him my daughter is struggling, that you're experiencing paranoia, delusions about your own family. I'll express concern about your mental stability at work." The threat lingered in the air. "You think I won't?" she added. "Who would people believe? Maribel Vega? Devoted mother? Or her troubled daughter?" 6 months ago, that would have terrified me. Instead, I asked calmly, "Are you recording this conversation, Mom?" A pause. "What?" "Because I am." Silence. Thick. Complete. "I've been recording since I answered," I continued evenly. The same voice I use in board meetings. 3 minutes and 47 seconds so far. A clear recording of you threatening to sabotage my career unless I comply with your demands. I let that sink in. Combined with the audio Sophia sent me, the one where you laugh about loving my money, I'd say I have quite a collection now. The line went dead. I looked at my screen. Recording saved. 4 minutes, 12 seconds. For the first time in my life, I used their tactics against them, and it felt like oxygen. Sunday, 2 p.m. 4 hours until the party. Ethan and I sat at my small kitchen table, pushing around sandwiches neither of us were hungry enough to eat. "Walk me through it again," he said. "I show up," I replied. "I give a speech, not the one she wrote. I play the recording, then I leave." "That's it?" "That's it. And best case scenario?" I actually thought about it. "I don't need an apology," I said slowly. "I don't expect them to change. I just need them to hear the truth from me, in front of everyone they lied to, once." "And worst case?" "They call me unstable. They say it's fake. They turn the entire family against me permanently." I shrugged. "But I have bank records, metadata, documentation." Sophia sent the recording willingly. Ethan nodded, absorbing it. He didn't judge, didn't tell me to be the bigger person, didn't preach forgiveness. He just showed up. "Can I be honest?" he said. "Please. Most people in your position would want revenge, humiliation, blood." He met my eyes. "You just want to be heard. That's actually healthy. Messed up situation. Healthy response." I laughed, the first genuine laugh in days. "My therapist will be thrilled." "Speaking of which," he said, sliding Dr. Naomi Bennett's card toward me. "She has an opening Tuesday morning. I may have given her a preview." "You didn't have to do that." "I know," he smiled. "That's why I did." At 4:30, I put on a navy dress. Simple, clean lines, battle armor disguised as elegance. Ethan drove. The red folder rested in my lap, solid, heavy, full of receipts and timestamps and proof. We didn't talk on the way. Some silences carry more strength than speeches. Sunday, 5:45 p.m. The Houstonian Hotel ballroom. The parking lot was nearly full. BMWs, Lexus SUVs, the occasional Mercedes. My parents' social circle valued presentation. We pulled in with Ethan's modest sedan, which felt oddly appropriate. The ballroom glowed through tall windows. Crystal chandeliers, white linen tables, gold-accented centerpieces. A banner stretched above the head table in elegant script, 35 years of love. Maribel and Luis Vega. 10 round tables. 85 guests. Floral arrangements that likely cost more than my monthly grocery budget. This was my mother's kingdom, and she stood at the entrance in navy and pearls, smiling warmly at each arriving guest. A smile she had perfected over decades. The devoted wife, the loving mother, the woman everyone admired. She saw me walking toward her. Her smile didn't falter, not in front of witnesses, but her eyes sharpened instantly. "Valeria," she said warmly, stepping forward and pulling me into a hug. Her arms tightened around me, almost painful. Her lips brushed my ear. "If you embarrass me tonight," she whispered, "I will destroy you." I hugged her back just as firmly. "You've been doing that for 8 years, I murmured. "Tonight, I'm just telling people about it." She released me, her public smile snapping back into place. Only someone who knew her would have noticed the tension in her jaw, the way her knuckles had gone white. "Mrs. Vega," Ethan said smoothly, extending his hand. "Beautiful event. I'm Ethan, Valeria's friend. Thank you for having me." Her smile flickered, barely. She hadn't expected a witness. But she recovered quickly. "Any friend of Valeria's is welcome," she replied. We stepped into the ballroom. Aunt Teresa waved from the corner table. Uncle Javier raised his glass at the bar. Cousins I hadn't seen in years whispered quietly, probably repeating whatever version of events my mother had fed them. 85 guests. 1 red folder. It was time. I found my seat at table 3. Close enough to see my parents at the head table, far enough that we could pretend we weren't at war. Ethan sat beside me. Across from us, Aunt Teresa, Uncle Javier, Cousin Elena, and 2 family friends whose names I barely remembered. Everyone smiled. Everyone asked about work. No one mentioned the tension in the room. "I hear you're doing very well at that investment firm," Aunt Teresa said carefully. Your mother says you're very generous. Does she? I replied lightly. She mentioned you help with the mortgage, that you insisted, that you wanted to. The table went still. Even Uncle Javier paused mid-sip. That I volunteer it? I asked gently. That I insist because I feel guilty about being successful? That I beg them to let me help? Aunt Teresa shifted uncomfortably. Her eyes flicked toward the head table where my mother was watching us like a hawk. Something like that, she said. Interesting. I let the word linger. Then I picked up my fork and returned to my salad. Across the room, Sophia was staring at me. She wore white. Innocent, angelic, deliberate, but she looked nervous. Good. At 6:45, the event coordinator stepped up to the microphone. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Vega family, thank you for celebrating this wonderful milestone. Before dinner is served, we have a special presentation. She glanced at her card. Please welcome Valeria Vega, the couple's eldest daughter, who will say a few words and present a very special gift. Applause filled the room. Warm, unsuspecting. I stood, picked up the red folder, met Ethan's eyes. He nodded once. I walked toward the stage. 85 people had no idea what was about to happen. Before I tell you what I said, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in that moment? The one where everyone expects you to stay quiet? To keep the peace? To swallow your truth so they can stay comfortable? What would you do? Give the speech your mother wrote, or tell the truth? If you're still here with me, stay with me, because this is where everything changed. The microphone felt cool in my hand. The spotlight warmed my face. I looked out at the crowd. Aunts and uncles who had watched me grow up, neighbors who attended my high school graduation, people who only knew the version of me my parents had curated, the successful, generous daughter. Thank you all for being here tonight, I began. My voice was steady, surprisingly steady, considering the earthquake in my chest. 35 years of marriage is an incredible milestone. I have so many memories of this family. I paused. Camping trips in the summer, Christmas mornings, my dad teaching me to change a tire in the driveway. I saw my parents relax slightly. This sounded right. This sounded safe. Then I continued. But tonight, instead of talking about the past, I want to talk about the present. A ripple moved through the room. About what family really means. Silence deepened. 8 years ago, I got my first real job. I was proud, grateful, excited to finally be able to help my family. I kept my tone calm, measured. Mom needed help with the mortgage. Dad's injury made things tight. Sophia needed tuition. I was happy to contribute. My mother's smile began to harden. My father had gone pale. And I contributed every single month for 8 years. I let that settle. Recently, I calculated the exact amount. I looked around the room. Would you like to know what it is? No one moved. No one spoke. $516,650. The number echoed. Gasps. Whispers. Aunt Teresa's hand flew to her mouth. That, I said clearly, is how much I have given this family. I looked straight at my mother. And last week, I said evenly, I learned exactly what that money bought me. She started to rise from her chair. I kept going. Let me break it down. I opened the red folder. $2,450 a month for the mortgage. That's $235,200 over 8 years. The murmuring grew louder. People were calculating, faces shifting from polite interest to disbelief. $98,000 for Sophia's tuition and housing at the University of Houston. I glanced at my sister. Her hand had frozen halfway to her water glass. You're welcome, I added quietly. Valeria! My mother's voice sliced across the ballroom. $1,200 a month in additional living expenses. That's $115,200, plus emergency loans totaling $36,400, none of which were ever repaid. This is not appropriate, she snapped, already moving toward the stage. And most recently, I continued, a Mediterranean cruise for $31,850 charged to my credit card without my consent, presented to everyone as a gift I was giving you. That was supposed to be a surprise, she shouted, her composure cracking. You told me after you charged it, I replied calmly. And after you announced it publicly. I turned back to the audience. Has anyone here ever had someone spend nearly $32,000 on their credit card without permission and call it generosity? Heads shook, whispers intensified. Aunt Teresa half stood. Valeria, sweetheart, there's more. I took out my phone. The money isn't even the worst part. My mother lunged toward the stage steps. She's having an episode, she yelled. I told you she wasn't stable. On the contrary, I said, connecting my phone to the sound system, I have never been more clear. My thumb hovered over the screen. This is a recording Sophia sent me 4 days ago. She thought it was funny. I pressed play. My mother's voice filled the ballroom. She really thinks we love her. What we love is her money. 85 people stopped breathing. My father's laugh followed. She's always been the naive one. Then Sophia's voice. How long do you think she'll keep paying? And my mother again, light and casual. As long as she believes we need her. That's her weakness. The recording played for 47 seconds before my mother screamed. Turn it off! That's fake! She fabricated it! I stopped the audio. The silence that followed wasn't polite. It was vacuumed, airless. It's not fake, I said calmly. The file contains metadata showing it was recorded last Sunday at 2:34 p.m. It's been verified by an attorney. No edits, no splicing. I looked at Sophia. Would you like to tell everyone who recorded it? Who sent it to me with the message, guess who has a surprise for you? Every head turned. Sophia opened her mouth, closed it. Tears streamed down her face. Whether from guilt or the realization that she had detonated her own trap, I couldn't tell. Is this true? Uncle Javier's voice broke from across the room. She didn't answer. She couldn't. I looked at my mother, mascara beginning to run, facade collapsing in real time. You wanted me to give a speech tonight, I said quietly. Consider this my speech. The red folder lay open on the podium. $500,000 in receipts. One devastating recording. The room fractured. My mother rushed up the steps. You ungrateful! You're ruining everything! I'm not ruining anything, I said, stepping back, keeping the podium between us. I'm just not hiding it anymore. That recording is a lie. I never… Mom. My voice cut through her panic. 85 people just heard you say my name. You laughed about me. My father stood abruptly from the head table, his face flushed. Valeria, this is our anniversary. And you called me naive, I replied. You laughed when she said you loved my money. Was that funny to you? He had no answer. Sophia bolted from the ballroom, sobbing. One of her friends chased after her. Guests began whispering urgently. Some stood frozen. Others avoided eye contact entirely. Uncle Javier pushed back from his table and walked straight toward my mother. Maribel, he demanded, is what she's saying about the money true? My mother's mouth moved, but no words came. Is it true? It's more complicated than that. How much? His voice rose. How much have you taken from her? I didn't take anything. She offered. 8 years of bank records, I said, lifting the summary sheet. Every transfer documented. From the corner of the room, a voice cut through the chaos. My grandmother, still seated, calm. Maribel, she said quietly, you told me Valeria insisted on paying, that she begged you to take the money because she felt guilty. My mother turned sharply. Mother, stay out of this. I will not. Grandma's eyes hardened in a way I had never seen before. I spent 60 years building this family's reputation, she said slowly, and you've been lying to all of us. Something flickered across my mother's face. The ballroom was chaos. Voices rising, chairs scraping, accusations flying. But somehow, I felt calm standing in the middle of it. I picked up the red folder and stepped down from the stage. I'm not here for revenge, I said, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. I'm here to set the record straight. My mother intercepted me at the bottom of the steps. Up close, I could see it, the panic under the fury, the calculations of someone watching her carefully constructed world unravel. You've destroyed this family, she hissed. No, I said quietly. I told the truth about it. I turned to the room, guests gathering in tight circles, some already leaving, others staring as if they'd just witnessed a collision they couldn't process. I want to be clear, I continued. I'm not asking for repayment. I'm not suing anyone. I'm not trying to punish anyone. I placed the red folder on the nearest table. I'm simply done. No more monthly transfers. No more emergency loans. No more credit cards used without permission. If my parents ever need real help in the future, I added, we can have a conversation, an honest one. The first honest conversation this family has ever had. My father sank into a chair, his head in his hands. My mother stood rigid, vibrating with rage she couldn't unleash in front of witnesses. I walked to my grandmother. I'm sorry this happened at your party, I said softly, but it was going to happen somewhere. She squeezed my hand, her grip surprisingly strong. I know, she said, and I should have known sooner. I kissed her cheek. Then I walked out. The evening air hit my face like cold water. Ethan followed quietly beside me. We crossed the parking lot without speaking, gravel crunching under our shoes. Behind us, raised voices and muffled arguments spilled out of the ballroom doors. I didn't look back. We were almost at his car when I heard my name. Valeria, wait! Grandma stood at the entrance, leaning on her cane. The walk had clearly taken effort, but she came anyway. I met her halfway. I needed to say something, she said, breath slightly uneven. You were right. I've made excuses for your mother my entire life. That's just Maribel. She means well. Family is family, she shook her head. I should have protected you. You didn't know, I said gently. I didn't want to know, she corrected. There's a difference. She gripped my arm. Don't let her convince you that you were the villain tonight. You told the truth. That takes more courage than anyone in that ballroom has shown in years. Thus, I hugged her carefully. Thank you. And don't answer your phone for a few days, she added. I laughed despite everything. Noted. We drove away as the sun set over Houston. In the rearview mirror, I could see guests trickling out, clustering in uncertain groups, trying to process what they had just witnessed. How do you feel? Ethan asked. I thought about it. Like I've been holding my breath for 8 years, I said finally. And I just exhaled. The city skyline ahead didn't feel distant anymore. It felt like possibility. At 10 p.m., I sat by my apartment window. The lights of Houston blurred through glass I'd been meaning to clean for months. My phone lay face down on the table. I had silenced it hours ago. 47 missed calls, 23 text messages, probably more by now. I didn't check. Instead, I let myself feel everything I had been suppressing since Tuesday. The grief came first, not for the confrontation, for the family I thought I had. The parents who held me as a baby, who cheered at graduations, who said they were proud. Had any of it been real? Or had I always been an investment, valued only for returns? The tears came without warning. I hadn't cried since I first heard that recording. 4 days of logistics, planning, controlled breathing. Now alone, I finally broke. I cried for the 10-year-old who just wanted her parents to be proud, for the 22-year-old who gave away her first paycheck hoping it would make her enough, for the 33-year-old who finally understood that enough had never been the goal. At 11 p.m., I called Camilla. I did it, I said quietly. I saw your dad called me twice, she replied. I didn't answer. How are you, really? I think I'm sad, I admitted, but also relieved. Both can exist at the same time, she said gently. Did I do the right thing? She paused. You did the necessary thing, she said. Those aren't always the same. But tonight, they were. I hung up and lay down. For the first time in years, I slept without calculating what I owed anyone. The aftermath came in waves. Monday morning, Aunt Teresa called. Her tone was nothing like it had been 2 days earlier. "Valeria," she said softly, "I had no idea. Your mother told us you insisted, that you felt guilty and wanted to contribute. We believed her." She hesitated. "I'm sorry I never asked more questions." "Thank you for calling, Aunt Teresa," I said carefully. "I'm not calling just to apologize," she replied, her voice steady now, firm in a way I'd never heard before. "I told Maribel exactly what I think of her. We won't be speaking for a while." That was the first crack in the wall. Tuesday. An email from Sophia. Long, angry, bitter. "You ruined my life. I lost my job because my boss is friends with Aunt Sarah, and now everyone knows. Are you happy? You got your revenge." I read it twice. Then I replied with 4 sentences. "You sent me that recording to watch me suffer. You laughed about it. Your choices have consequences. I hope you learn from this." I didn't add anything else. There was nothing left to explain. Wednesday. 3 of my father's church friends mailed handwritten apology cards to my apartment. Actual paper, stamps, ink. They had believed my parents' version for years, that I was a desperate daughter trying to buy affection. Now they knew better. The Houstonians sent my parents an invoice for the event, stamped payment required within 14 days. Apparently, public scandal affects membership standing. I learned that from Uncle Javier, who called to give what he described as a situation report. "Your parents are refinancing the house," he said. "Without your payments, they can't cover the mortgage." "I don't feel guilty," I replied. And I didn't. By Wednesday night, 12 family members had stopped speaking to my mother. I wasn't keeping score for revenge. I was keeping score because it proved something. Truth has consequences. 2 weeks after the party, my mother posted a carefully worded paragraph on Facebook about family struggles and respecting privacy during difficult times. Sympathy poured in. A few subtle questions. One pointed comment from cousin Elena that disappeared within minutes. The spin cycle had begun. I expected it. My mother had never met a narrative she couldn't reshape. Then she called. "Are you satisfied now?" Her tone was calm, cold, controlled. The mask back in place cracked only slightly. "The whole church knows. My book club dropped me. Barbara Henderson won't return my calls." "And that's my fault?" I asked. "You humiliated us publicly at our anniversary. Do you understand what you've done?" "I told the truth, Mom." She laughed, sharp and bitter. "You think people care about truth? They care about stability, respect, appearances. You destroyed all of that in 5 minutes." "I destroyed it?" I repeated quietly. "You said on recording that you don't love me, that you love my money." That was taken out of context. "What context makes that acceptable?" Silence. "I'm not apologizing," she said finally. "We raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. That costs money too. You owe us. Children aren't debts to collect. You wouldn't understand sacrifice." I ended the call. That evening, something unexpected happened. My phone rang again, a different number. My father's personal cell, the one he rarely used. "Valeria." His voice sounded older than I remembered. "I'm not calling to argue. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." I didn't speak. "Your mother is wrong," he continued quietly. "I've known that for a long time. I just never had the courage to say it." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. 1 month later, I sat in Dr. Naomi Bennett's office for my 4th session. The business card Ethan had given me was now soft at the edges from being handled so often. "How did it feel?" she asked. "Not to transfer the mortgage this month." The first of the month had passed 3 days earlier. For the first time in 8 years, I hadn't sent $2,450 to Katie. Terrifying, I admitted. And light. Like I put down a backpack I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Dr. Bennett nodded. "Guilt often disguises itself as responsibility. They're not the same thing. That afternoon, I walked into a real estate office. I'm looking to buy a condo, I told the agent, a bright woman named Sandra. 2 bedrooms, the Heights if possible. She pulled up listings. With my full salary, all of it, and my credit score, I qualified for more than I had ever allowed myself to imagine. You could close by spring, Sandra said. Let me show you some options. Sunlit kitchens, balconies overlooking tree-lined streets, clean spaces with no emotional debt attached to them, places that were mine. That evening, Ethan and Camila came over for dinner. I cooked, actually cooked, not reheated something from a box. We sat at my small table, plates half finished, wine glasses catching the light. To new beginnings, Ethan said, lifting his glass. Camilla smiled and tapped hers against his. To Valeria, she added, who finally chose herself. For the first time in years, I was calculating what I could build. I looked around my tiny midtown studio, half-packed boxes by the door, sunlight sliding across walls that wouldn't be mine much longer. Across from me sat 2 people who had shown up without conditions. Ethan, Camila. No invoices, no expectations, no hidden agendas. This was family. The blood kind had become optional. This kind was chosen. 3 months after the anniversary party, my father sent me an email. Not a text, not a call. An email. Like he needed the distance of a screen to say what he couldn't say out loud. Valeria, I've been thinking about the last 33 years, about the kind of father I was, and the kind I should have been. He admitted he knew the money situation was wrong. He knew I was being used. He said nothing. I told myself it was easier to stay quiet than fight her, he wrote. I told myself you seemed fine, so it must be fine. Those were lies I told myself so I could sleep. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He said he didn't deserve it. But he ended with something simple. I love you, not for your money, for you. I should have said that years ago. If you're willing, I'd like to see you. Alone. I read it 3 times before replying. We met at a coffee shop near my new place, Neutral Ground. He looked smaller, grayer, like the past few months had aged him. I almost didn't come, he admitted. He didn't make excuses. He talked about his own father, a man who never once said, I love you. He talked about marrying Maribel because she seemed strong, decisive, everything he wasn't. He talked about watching her control the finances and convincing himself it wasn't his place to interfere. It doesn't make it right, he said quietly. I just want you to understand. I can have a relationship with you, I told him carefully. But not if Mom is part of it. He nodded. I understand. It wasn't the reconciliation I imagined as a child, but it was honest, and that mattered more. 6 months after the party, my mother still hadn't apologized. Through Aunt Teresa, who had unexpectedly taken my side, I learned my mother had rewritten the story. In her version, I'd suffered a stress-induced breakdown. The recording had been manipulated. I'd overreacted to a misunderstanding. Some people believed her. That was fine. The people who mattered didn't. Sophia sent one final message before blocking me everywhere. I hope you're happy. You took everything from us. Mom cries every day. Dad barely talks. I had to move in with a friend because I can't afford rent. This is all your fault. I typed out a long response. Every justified defense. Every angry truth. Then I deleted it. Instead, I wrote in my journal. Sophia made a choice when she sent that recording. She wanted to hurt me. She succeeded, just not the way she expected. I can grieve the sister I thought I had without taking responsibility for the sister she chose to become. The door isn't locked. If she ever wants an honest conversation, one that includes accountability, I'll listen. But I'm not chasing her. I spent 33 years chasing approval. I'm done running. Some relationships heal, some don't. Wisdom is knowing the difference. In March, 6 months after the party, I signed the papers on a 2-bedroom condo in the Heights. Exposed brick, sunlit windows, my name alone on the deed. The housewarming was small. Camilla, Ethan, A few coworkers who had become real friends. My father came alone. Awkward, unsure, but trying. Grandma insisted on bringing apple pie even though walking was hard for her. "I'm proud of you," she said, looking around the empty space that would soon hold furniture I chose myself. "Not just for this place, for everything, especially the party." Camilla raised her glass. "To Valeria Vega, who bought a condo, got a 10% raise, and built a blog had started accidentally." I wrote anonymously about financial boundaries, about family expectations disguised as duty. I expected maybe 10 readers. Instead, thousands of messages came in. People who recognized themselves in my story. People who had given too much for too long. I wasn't alone. None of us were. "To new beginnings," Ethan said. We clinked glasses. Outside, the March sky softened over a city I had lived in for years, but was only now claiming as mine. 1 year later, I'm writing this from my living room. Morning light across the keyboard. Coffee cooling beside me. I was promoted at Stonebridge. My savings account finally looks like savings. I took my first real vacation in 8 years. Hawaii. The blog keeps growing. Every week, someone writes to say they finally had the conversation they were afraid to have. Some relationships survived it, some didn't. All of them became more honest. Grandma passed away 3 months ago. I was there, holding her hand. My mother didn't come. I gave the eulogy. It was steadier than I expected. My father and I meet once a month for coffee now. He's in therapy, working through a lifetime of silence. We don't talk about my mother unless he brings it up. Sophia is still out there. Maybe one day she'll be ready, maybe she won't. Either way, my life moves forward. This story was never just about money. It was about the moment you realize love and obligation are not the same thing. For years, I confused sacrifice with loyalty. I believed that if I gave enough, worked hard enough, stayed quiet enough, I would finally earn the kind of love that never needed to be earned in the first place. But real love doesn't invoice you. It doesn't manipulate you. It doesn't call control family duty. The truth is, setting a boundary will cost you something. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs relationships. But what it gives you in return is something far greater: clarity, dignity, and the freedom to build a life that isn't built on fear. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. They're the moment you decide that your peace matters too. If you've ever been the responsible one, the one who always pays, the one who keeps the peace while quietly breaking inside, I see you. Your exhaustion is real. Your confusion is valid. And choosing yourself is not betrayal. Before you go, tell me, have you ever had to draw a line that changed everything? What happened after you did? If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who might need the reminder that they are not alone. And stories,